Greetings, Stars fans, and welcome to the Two Brothers Mic'd Up show. Sans one brother again for another video. If you didn't know, what we do is we sit down, discuss the recent Dallas Stars game. They played in Game 76 against the San Jose Sharks. We give our thoughts, discussions right here on YouTube, just for you. As we start off each video, we go back to the last video, where we give scores and what we think it will turn out to be in the next game. I like to score of 5-1 for Dallas and a score of 4-3 for the San Jose Sharks. Now we'll go down the goal scorers. We had a score of 4-2. We had Matthias Janmark cashing in the first period and the second period. We had Patrick Sharp on the power play chiming in for his first goal in like almost 30 games. We had Joel Ward scoring shorthanded, Tomas Hertl scoring, and Jamie Benn all in the third period. So, one of the recent news with the lineup changes is that you see Matthias Janmark in, Brett Ritchie out. And you also see Antti Niemi in this game. Now, if you watched last video, I discussed, or even the one before that, I discussed that I really wanted Antti Niemi to be in the game for the Phoenix, for the Arizona game, and Kari in the San Jose game, because I just thought that maybe Kari needed a tougher opponent when it came to his goaltending and his confidence. If he would able to be pull out a good win against like maybe San Jose, that'll help keep his confidence going. And if he were to fall against Arizona, it could only hurt his confidence. So we see Kari go in with Arizona, and we see Niemi come in against San Jose. They lose in Arizona, and they win in San Jose. It's actually a very similar game that they played in Arizona that they did in San Jose. It was very sloppy. It was very, hurried. It was very rushed. Passes weren't great. Zone clearings weren't that great. The neutral zone got really bogged down by the San Jose Sharks in this one. Just an overall, just the way the game started, it felt like a game that was going to be very physical. A game that you would want Brett Ritchie in. The hits turn out to be, they're in the favor of San Jose. It was 29-22. Again, like I said, it was a sloppy game. We have giveaways, 15-15. That means a lot of puck turnovers. But then the Sharks, you could tell they were smelling blood in the water. They were being, like Sharks, in that they took the puck away 15-10. So San Jose had a lot of zone time, and they were getting it to where they didn't let the Stars hang on to the puck often. When the Stars got, bursts of speed, had some momentum going, there was the Sharks right there to put a body on you, to strip the puck away from you, and go the other way. And the shots were 36-17. Now, you could be asking, well, if it sounds like you're just saying the Stars were bad altogether, not necessarily. You get outshot, you get out-hit, and you get the puck taken away from you more. That's usually a recipe for disaster. But going to the top of the video, Antti Niemi. Antti Niemi, I think, played one of his best games in maybe 2 months. He looked like the Antti Niemi that we had at the start of the season that was pushing Kari out of the number one spot. Maybe I was wrong in saying that, I would have liked Kari in the San Jose game, because maybe Antti Niemi just had that spark. He caught that fire in a bottle and kept it because he was stellar. Everybody else around him, not so much. But then, it was nice seeing that Yanmark was able to cash in on his chances. It was nice seeing Patrick Sharp get off his schneid. But, damn, the defense just looked terrible. Terrible, especially in the third period whenever you're starting to crack down. When you're going into the third period with a 3-goal lead and you got the shutout going, those little plays that you saw, one by Jordy Ben right there in front of the net, just where was he going with that? Where? You see Auntie give him the puck, and then he tries to go back to the other corner, not behind the net, which would have been smarter if he wanted to go to the other side to maybe stretch out the penalty kill that the Sharks were giving him. Go back around the corner, around the boards. There would have been no harm right there because Johns would have been able to get it. But then the way that you're playing it, I think it gets picked off either way. But then again, you get Joel Ward, coasting in through the front, hits onto Niemi, and just the way that the calls have been going this season, you kind of had a feeling that wasn't going to get called. The officiating in this game was just absolutely terrible. Not just on blown calls or goals being called, the penalties that were being called and the penalties that weren't being called. The Brendan Dillon, okay. The Antoine Roussel penalty, that, yes, he was upset. He got hit. That hit could have been called for a penalty. Maybe, no, it's not boarding. Maybe charging. Maybe an elbow, but I don't think that would have been the case. Maybe Antoine Roussel just should have had his head up. Should have been paying attention instead of looking at the man that just hit him and know that he's about to go get the puck. If you're on the ice, you're an active player and you got to keep your head on a swivel. He gets his lights wrong, and then he goes after and then just does a two-handed chop that could have been a major when you think about it. Just the way that he comes down with the slash, not smart. Not smart at all. Antoine Roussel was out there to make some sort of message. He goes out, he finishes the first period. He had that rather weak fight, and I think he thought about it for the whole first period intermission. Goes back out, gets the he gets a cross-checking penalty. But then again, he was just playing very hot-headed. And the Sharks knew exactly what they were doing. This was a playoff game. This is exactly the game that the Stars needed to have. A game to where it looked like they were being outplayed, outmatched, out-hit, out everything. And that for them to hang in there and to get that first goal when they're being outshot 12-3 at the time, for them to catch that lucky break, it shows that they can just hang in there, that they can just, kind of weather the storm. But damn, I wrote down in my notes that I really liked the atmosphere of this game. Playoffs are getting close, and so everyone is starting to gear up for that. Stars need to start playing like how San Jose played. But then you could be saying, well, they lost that game. Very true. But the way the Sharks were able to hurry the Stars, the way they were able to just separate them from the puck, they had 36-17 shots. Not often. 9 times out of 10, you win those games. The Stars played a very playoff-heavy type goal or type game that I absolutely love. We have not seen this type of game in a while. I think the St. Louis game, I don't really think counts. The LA game, you might say, would be it. But the way the Stars hung in there, the way they were responding to the Sharks, getting in their face. You had John Klingberg go after Thornton. Hal Thornton doesn't really get anything out of that. Thornton was one of those players out on the ice yesterday that he knew exactly what he was doing. He was playing the game within the rules he was trying to get his team ahead. And you have to respect that, but then again, damn, how does he not get called for an embellishment on the Goligoski hook? But then again, and that Stephen Johns penalty, how does that even get called for a penalty? His elbow's not up. It's such a beating sitting here saying how the officiating was just bad and how it seems to be getting worse and worse with each game that goes. I liked the thoughts of, I think, who was it that brought it up? Maybe it was Steve Dangle that brought this up, that says, if the officiating turns out to be bad and the league thinks that they didn't do a very good game, they get busted down to the minor league. Their NHL paycheck gets taken away from them because they don't deserve it, because they weren't calling a game the way that it should have been called. San Jose Sharks fans might be saying it the other way, but some of that stuff, a lot of the stuff that San Jose was doing, wasn't getting called at all. To say that the refs might have been bought off is not a great thing to say, but this is one of those games that it looked like they were giving serious home field advantage to, because they knew that San Jose has been just quite terrible at the SAP Arena, and they were giving them every chance they possibly could. Dallas had 6 penalties. But that's the thing about it, is that the penalty kill for the Dallas Stars has been exceptional. Something that wasn't great. I think earlier in the season, it was the Stars take a penalty, you get a goal. That's just how it was. The only goal on the power play that they've given up was against Stamkos. Yeah. So they've killed off a ton of their penalties. And that's what they're needing to do, because they're not playing very smart. But then again, the officials just aren't calling the games both ways. It just doesn't seem that way to me. And you can call me a homer, but then go look at the Stephen Johns penalty. You tell me, where was the elbow? Where was the infraction on it? Because his arm rides up with the hit does not mean that he elbowed him. Going into the Matthias Janmark goal, I think everybody thought that was Jordy Ben's goal. I honestly thought it was. It didn't really look like he got a tip on it until they were really showing the replay for it to see that Janmark gets his stick on it. And I really wanted to focus in on Janmark. He did play really well. I honestly didn't like the thought that Brett Ritchie was being pulled out of this game, because this just seemed like a game that Brett Ritchie could just thrive in. Patrick Eaves and Stephen Johns, I think that's been the combo, because Patrick Sharp and Stephen Johns led the team last game, so a Patrick and a Johns seem to be leading the way for hits. On the Matthias Janmark second goal, that was a good goal by with Spezza setting it up, cruising in, shows his poise. Spezza just has that knack for making goalies wait. He can make them just make that first move, and he just outweights them and just throws it back out front for Janmark. Janmark, having a nose for the goal, goes right to where he needs to be. Deposits it in. You could not have drawn it up any better. You know, Spezza takes in like 3 defenders in through the corner, makes the goalie come out, overcommit, throws it in front for Janmark's 15th. The Patrick Sharp goal, I think everybody just went, whew, breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that he has now found the back of the net, and now he can go back and just start playing hockey. I think Sharp might have just been holding the stick too tight. You'll always hear about whenever a player's going through a slump, you'll hear coaches and maybe teammates just think he's overthinking it. He's holding his stick too tight. And being a player myself, it's absolutely true. When you have not found the back of the net, that stick does get a little heavier. Your hands do grip it a little tighter. Again, Patrick Sharp draws a lot of people over to him, does his poise, waits out, finds the right opportunity, throws it over to Patrick Sharp. Boom. Back of the net. Another thing that I was watching throughout the rest of this game, I think Goligoski had maybe his worst game of the season. It just looks like he's regressing so much. You had him pinch up, and then that creates a 2-on-1. He loses the puck, creates another opportunity. Caught out of position so much. How this guy gets these top minutes. I mean, the Stars must just be super handcuffed to where it's like, okay, look, we got no one else to fill those top minutes. Like, and honestly, Klingberg going back with Patrick Nemeth in this game, I really liked a lot. I think Klingberg plays a lot better with Patrick Nemeth than he did with Alex Goligoski. I think Goligoski is really missing Russell right now. So he really needs to start finding his game again. Because if you think that this guy is going to be back next season, I beg to differ. He will not be here next season. I think he's just creating too much of a highlight on him to where you can see too much on him and you know how to beat him. He's catching himself off so much. So much. Not paying attention. But then again, he never really gave up anything to where like Jordy Ben did. Now, when it comes to off-season stuff, I think Jordy keeps the spot on this team. If not, I think he gets re-signed and he's going to be the 7th defenseman. Him and maybe Alexiak. I think those two are your 2 scratches for the night, and you'll have maybe a McKenzie up for a forward for a scratch. But I think that Jordy stays, Goligoski's gone. I think they make an offer sheet for Chris Russell. I think they'll try to pursue Russell. I think he's played well enough to where he has impressed the Stars personnel and Stars fans. I think a lot of people have some positive things about Russell. I think Oduya. I mean, I'm kind of on a neutral ground with him. I think he's shown really good games, but then I think of lately he's shown some really bad games. When you see a game like this being played, you have to ask yourself, when the Stars get in this type of game, you see Antoine Roussel, charging up, some San Jose players. You see Jamie Benn going after, I think it was Pavelski, and Jamie Benn takes that that penalty. But I mean, you can't really fault Jamie on that. I mean, you can. It was a little undisciplined, but you know, he's trying to provide that spark. Is this game a response to the Coyotes game, or is this something that can be found deep down in this Stars team? I've been in past episodes saying this team doesn't have any killer instinct. Is this that killer instinct that's starting to show? Are they starting to show their teeth that says that once we get into the playoffs, the Stars could be considered as one of the lightweights when it comes to really throwing the body around? I think it'll be Dallas and Chicago that won't be the physical teams. And Dallas needs to learn how to play with that physicality, to learn how to really find out who they are when it comes to that style of hockey. And I think this game right here, not only did they win it, but I think they won it on so many different levels with how they can just build off of it. The confidence that you can build off of a type of game like this is more valuable than anything. The win helps, but the confidence that the players can get out of this to play in this style of game, I think that bodes well for anybody. Let's go. Oh, I mean, we don't even really need to talk about the San Jose Shark goals. You got a bad play from Jordy, and then you have the Stars kind of just sticking their head up their ass come on that second, on that hurdle goal. And they got caught with not enough pressure. Patrick Sharp's up a little too far to where he can't get the puck out. Gets taken away, and they get a little scrambly. The defense kind of breaks down in front, but overall, you could blame that on everybody else but Niemi. If you watch that game and saying that Niemi had an okay game, I think you need to go back and watch some of that stuff that he was doing, because he was absolutely on his game. Without Antti Niemi, the Stars lose this game, and I think they lose it big time. I think they lose this game I think easily the Sharks could have had 6 goals. And the Stars could have had 4. But easily the Sharks have 6 goals in this game. The rating of this game that I gave, B-. And that's on the back of Antti Niemi, Patrick Sharp, Matthias Janmark, them finding the back of the net, getting on the goal sheet. That builds confidence right there. I think Janmark finds himself in the lineup from here on out. Brett Ritchie, I think, will get subbed in. Maybe Sevier finds himself on the bench a couple of times. I think he might find himself being on the odd man out in a couple of these games, just to make sure Ritchie has some flow to his game. Defense, broke down a bit. Didn't seem like the Stars were going to handle the pressure the way they did, but I mean, they pulled through. It was a B-. Yeah, I'd say a B-. It wasn't the best game, but it also wasn't the worst game. The Stars play against the Nashville Predators. That game, I don't really fear Nashville. I think a lot of people are thinking, they're getting a little hot. But, man, the Stars have played really well against them. They've had one game that was kind of a stinker, but I think they match up pretty well against Nashville. And it all depends on what their goalie does. I think their defense is only like a two-headed monster. If you're able to get around that, I think you can do a lot of things. They don't really have the firepower that they did last season. Last season, they were really good at scoring goals. This season, not the best. Stars, I think Kari starts that game. I think, he finds his game again. Stars, they can outshoot anybody. They can shoot the lights out. I like a score of... I'm going to say 3-1 for Dallas, just because of the defense that Nashville has. And I like a score of 3-2 for Nashville. I think it'll be a close game either way, but if the Stars get loose, I think that'll be great. So that's the discussion. Be sure to subscribe, like the video down below. Leave any kind of feedback. Remember, this is a show for fans, by fans. And with that, as always, tune in next time.